Hello, welcome to Soulprint. My name is Cindy. As you can see, I'm still lisping, so we're going to muddle through. First, for those of you curious, we survived Easter. It takes about 24 hours before they all settle down. But just to prove they're not hissing monsters all the time, there's going to be a little 1-minute clip at the end of the video. So, for those of you who are interested in the ongoing cat saga. So today I want to do 3 sort of shorter readings. I want to take a look at Putin, Zelensky, and Trump. So right now, Russia is absolutely bombarding. They have a very powerful, apparently, ground offensive in eastern Ukraine. They're trying to take over, I guess it's a city of Donbass. So let's take a look at how Putin's doing, because really, this has not gone well for him, right? I mean, the whole thing has been kind of considered a Russian failure. They lost that big ship, and, they had to sort of resort to this sort of ground offensive. So let's take a look at him first, shall we? Oh, thank you for all of the Easter wishes. Thank you so much. Very sweet. I appreciate it. I hope all of you had a good holiday weekend. To my new subscribers, my commenters, my viewers, thank you. I was looking at some stats the other day. It was interesting. And about 30% of my viewers aren't actually subscribed. So I invite you to do so. And when you are subscribing, especially these days, because my videos are a little sporadic, please push the notification bell so that you make sure that you get alerted when I do manage to get a video out. All right, come on down. I have a question. All right, we're going to start with Putin. Tell me about Putin. Tell me about Putin. Tell me about Putin. And of course, once again, I do ask that if you're going to be making comments, you be careful about using certain names that are likely to attract things to this channel that we don't want. So, here we go. Okay, so, and I think I've said this before about him, he really is all about his legacy. Honestly, that's all he cares about. He wants his legacy to be that he put sort of the USSR back together again. And in that way, he is so focused on this legacy that he really refuses to get or accept or receive any information that is not in line with what he wants. So, we already found out that apparently 10% of the actual equipment that the Russian army is working with is functionable. But that doesn't stop him from sort of pushing ahead. He's got, soldiers who don't have food. He's got vehicles running out of gas. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. In that way, he is very similar to that sort of same makeup of, the King of Mar-a-Lago, right? That sort of what I want and only what I want is what's important, and that's all there is to it. they have tried unsuccessfully to get, like Sean Hannity, for God's sakes, have tried unsuccessfully to get Trump to call Putin evil and his actions evil. He will not do it. Because honestly, in his head, Putin's just doing what Putin's entitled to do, and he's entitled to do it because he wants it. And that is exactly the same attitude that, the Orange King also has. Okay, so that's where we're sitting right now. Okay, well, so this is interesting. This actually looks like, and that offensive apparently, I don't know if it started yesterday or today, but it's going on right now. It looks like there's going to be delays. And frankly, it looks like there's going to be some significant sacrifices to some of his equipment and personnel. And they're going to discover that maybe not in every place along the West, but in a lot of places, they are going to be they're going to find themselves in a defensive instead of an offensive mode. Because more and more, it appears that Russian soldiers are kind of sickened and they're becoming reluctant to, kind of do his bidding. Now, there are psychopaths everywhere in the world, okay? And there are people who kill without feeling or remorse. And sure, there's a bunch of them running around the Russian army too. By and large, though, you've got soldiers who are really, really starting to sort of do the minimum and make it look like the maximum. Make no mistake, he is worried. He recognizes that this is not going as well as he would like it to do. That is why he has continued and increasingly continued to sort of do that whole gaslighting thing with the people of Russia. He is just telling them stories because if they knew the truth, they would be appalled. The vast majority of them. There are some, just like in every country, who simply believe what they are told without question. I don't think there's a country in the world that doesn't have people like that. But he's starting to actually feel the impact of what was supposed to be a 3-day offensive. And I'm not sure what day we're on now, but definitely, I'm pretty sure we're past, I don't know, when did this start? End of February, March, April? 2 months? It didn't go quite the way he wanted it to. There's a lot of, defiance from him. Frankly, there's a lot of empty threats. But this cycle of his is ultimately going to come to an end. And it looks as if before it comes to an end, he is going to go through several very difficult months. It is just honestly going to be one failure and one half success after another. There are not going to be any overwhelming clear wins. Because of that, he is going to keep on pushing forward. And frankly, he's going to become more delusional because he just thinks that if he can talk the talk, if he can just sort of stay in command, he can sort of ride this out. And I don't see that. There's the tower. I don't see that happening for him. Okay. Let's take a look at Mr. Zelensky. He really, he's really become quite the little hero. He is showing an incredible defiance against the odds, and frankly, him and the Ukrainian people are winning. And what I mean by that is every day that they are still pushing back, that they are still pushing back is a day they're winning. Because this was supposed to be such a slam dunk for Russia. Just a couple more quick shuffles. Tell me about Zelensky, tell me about Zelensky, tell me about Zelensky. He continues to inspire. He continues to motivate. He continues to stir the passions and the fighting energy and the fighting spirit of the people of Ukraine. And he's done more than that. He's actually created that kind of energy throughout NATO and throughout, countries that surround Russia and Ukraine. They're starting to realize that they are not in any less danger. And what has happened is because Zelensky has truly come through this with so much recognition and frankly, victory after victory after victory. And you know what? That's a hard thing when all the victories haven't sort of resulted in the complete end of this ridiculous, insane war. But the reality is that he continues to inspire people and he continues to be perceived and received as a very strong, intelligent, focused leader. He has a way of sort of, I guess I want to say, he has a way of letting you know the bad news without completely depressing you, frankly. He has a way of saying, this is really bad, but we can overcome it. This is really horrendous, but we're strong. And so because of that interesting combination of the way he communicates, he continues to keep a very strong and very passionate following behind him. Interesting, eh? So we have the Tower and the Ten of Cups coming up side by side. So it is as if he is very clear-eyed about the destruction that has already been caused and the destruction that is still intended to take place. But he has great faith, great hope. So he doesn't minimize the danger and the disaster. There's an absolute awareness, but he doesn't feel that Ukraine is going to fall. It may get shook up. It may have to restructure. Ultimately, it may even be kind of reconfigured a little bit. But in the end, he is quite sure that his country will remain. There is so much going on behind the scenes in terms of what NATO countries are sending and supplying that we just don't know, okay? And so it's important to keep our thoughts focused on the positive for Ukraine, continue to put them under those domes of protection, continue thoughts and prayers, because let me tell you, they are working. They're having an impact. And there is help going on that we simply are not aware of. And that is giving Ukraine the ability to really, frankly, push forward and kind of maintain this really grueling pace in the face of this horrendous adversity. There will be some really good luck coming to him, and I don't know in what form, but it very well could be sort of intel that comes to him that gives him some clarity, perhaps, of what's being planned by his adversary. I don't know, but it looks as if there are some things that are almost going to happen magically. Things that are just going to really bode well for him. Unfortunately, I see this thing going on for a little while longer. It could be I want to say through the end of May, maybe into June. But Ukraine is not going to surrender. They're simply not. They don't have, frankly, that kind of DNA. They don't have that kind of personality. Make no mistake, they are being watched over, they are being protected. And while Putin comes off as more and more extreme and more out of control, Zelensky comes across as more and more balanced and sane. He would very much like to sort of at least have a conversation to try to see if he could get to the bottom of what it is that Russia's actually trying to accomplish. But he recognizes at this point that nothing Putin says is going to be even slightly reliable. And so what is the point? Some really good luck coming to him. There's some really strong, I almost want to say magic or blessings or good fortune coming his way. His wife is an amazing person energetically. She not only keeps her husband focused and moving forward, but she does so with the country too. Yeah, you know what? There's going to be loss. There's going to have to be assessments. This isn't going to end up being a clean fight. And by that I mean, like, Ukraine is going to stay completely intact as it is now. I don't believe it will. But I also don't think that ultimately Russia is going to get anywhere near what they think they want. The Ukrainians are a strong and proud people, and they have a strong and proud leader. And so even this is beyond horrendous. They remained strong, and he remained strong. All right. Let's move on. Oh, God. To you know who. So for him, things have not been going well lately. I mean, you know, it looks like there's crimes that were committed that nobody even knows what they are coming out of the January 6th committee. They made it perfectly clear that they anticipate going public with public hearings. In the spring, I don't know exactly what that means. Does it mean, you know, May, June? I don't know. But they've made it clear that they're not sweeping this under the carpet. And they've made it clear that they are not going to be cowed into not doing their job, but nor are they going to be slowed down. I mean, this sort of nonsense about, well, you know, the Republicans are just waiting for the midterms because they're going to shut that investigation down. I have news for them. That investigation is going to be shut down far, far before the midterms. Far before the midterms. And what needs to go to the Department of Justice is going to go to the Department of Justice. So there's that. So this isn't good. He's not doing well. You know, court rulings are going against him. He's really upsetting Republicans, frankly, pretty much across the board, except for, you know, the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the, whatever the heck that guy's name is out of Florida. Anyways, because he is hoarding money, way less money is flowing into Republican coffers for the election, and he will not denounce Putin. And again, except for a couple of sort of deranged members, the Republican Party stands solid against the fact that they do not condone or accept what is going on in Ukraine. So he sort of, you know, he's hit that place where I think that he's, I almost want to say panic to the point where he's no longer, and not that he has been, frankly, for a long time. I think just the degree has increased. He's sort of no longer in a place where a lot of what he says or does or thinks is rational. His rallies are horrendous. Golly, I wish I could remember what state it was in, but there was a rally he held just, I think, on the weekend. And last time he was in town, he had about 15,000 people in attendance. This time he had 2,000. So that's a fair bit. They're getting tired of him. Everybody. People are getting tired of him singing the same old song off key over and over and over again. They're getting tired of him spewing nonsense, and more of them recognize it as nonsense. And as his grip on the Republican Party loosens, as more and more people realize he is not a kingmaker, the situation is going to become even worse for him. And not to mention, you know, really, his daughter and son-in-law, to some degree or another, have flipped on him. Because they're very busy trying to protect themselves as well they should be. Tell me about Trump, tell me about Trump, tell me about Trump. So for those of you, I just want to see what's on the bottom of the chariot. For those of you who may be new to this channel, the Fool is one of my cards for Trump. Okay, so there is a lot of sort of infighting going on. And even though he has entered that place where he's really not absorbing a lot, he is starting to recognize on some level that, his star is losing some of his brightness. Apparently, very recently, I don't know if it was over the weekend or when it was, but he sort of slipped and said that, he's not sure that his health is going to be strong enough to allow him to run again. So there he has started, put out the first balloon to see how that would be accepted and responded to. So there's definitely a little bit of a sense of they're kind of putting stuff out there to see what will be like palatable, what he might be able to say and kind of get away with or garner some sympathy or whatever the heck he's looking for. And indeed, it looks like his health may not be strong enough. Now, listen, I have asked 100 times, and I'm going to ask the 101st time right here. Pendulum, is Donald Trump going to run in the 2024 election? No. Thank you. Is Donald Trump going to end up either indicted or charged with crimes? Yes. Is are the hearings, the January 6th hearings, when they go public, is that actually going to ultimately prove to be kind of one of the final nails in his coffin, if you will? Yeah. Okay. So they're going to continue to spin and get out ahead of and whatever. But I just don't really see it working. What's going to happen is a lot more of kind of the underhanded stuff that has been going on, the way he sends out, those mailers and the way he kind of tricks people into giving donations monthly when they don't realize that's happening. It's going to become more and more apparent or more and more spoken about. That's going to become more broadly known. And that, again, is going to paint him in sort of a bad light. He can be, I guess, as passionate as he wants, but more and more, his communications and what he is saying is coming across as childish and rambling and unhinged. And make no mistake, people are passing judgment on him. They are looking at him and saying, I don't know what's wrong with this guy, but he ain't right no more. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's not the guy that we elected in, I don't even know what year it was, 2016, or 2015, I guess. So again, things are not going well for him, more broadly speaking, and energetically, he's picking that up. Trump has, for all that he is, he really does have quite the amazing sense of knowing how to sell and how to push a narrative. The problem is, and listen, that served him really, really well. It served him when he was campaigning. Excuse me. And it served him when he was in office. But he's gotten stuck. And now he is like a broken record, repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And it's not serving him. He still wants to fight. He still wants to bully. He still wants to double down. The problem is that nobody wants to play with him. They have lost they're sort of no longer enamored. They're kind of seeing the, the emperor with no clothes on, if you will. And he is only concerned about stroking his ego. That's all he cares about. That's all he wants. And I don't think he's going to get it. Because more and more he's losing. In some ways, part of what made Trump very successful was he was very, very good at sort of getting kind of people really wound up emotionally. He was great at making people scared and fearful and coming across as the only one who could be able to protect them. So that's wearing off, and he really doesn't have, I've always said he's a one-trick pony. He doesn't have a repertoire. He has a couple things that work, and that's all he sticks to. Okay, so there we go. I don't know if I'll be back later on this week. I'll see what's going on in the world, and I'll see how I'm feeling. But again, thank you so, so much for your support. And I hope you enjoy the video, the little clip that's going to follow. Until next time, take care, be well, and I will see you soon.